Alright, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Learning Casino Games for Dummies. Today we're going to try to focus on Baccarat. Have played a little bit of Baccarat, but haven't played too much. I know around some of the basics of it. So what I've done today is I've used ChatGPT to kind of help us with the rules and try to understand it and maybe get a little bit of the basic strategies. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and read for the ChatGPT. So the prompt that I gave ChatGPT was teach me how to play Baccarat and include the side bets. So the ChatGPT's response was Baccarat is a pretty straightforward game once you get the hang of it and is often associated with high stakes gambling, but it's easy to play and has low house edge. Here's how you can play along with an explanation of the side bets. For basic Baccarat rules, Baccarat is usually played with multiple decks, typically 6 or 8. The game is all about predicting which of the two hands, which one is the player and one is the banker, will come closest to the total of 9, or if there will be a tie. So in step 1, the dealer is dealt 2 hands, one called the player and the other called the banker hand. You can bet on either one or on a tie. Each hand gets 2 initial cards. The goal is to have a hand value as close to 9 as possible. I do know it does not say in the Baccarat rules here, but if the player or the banker either gets a 9 or an 8, that is an automatic winner, as so long as the opposite hand does not have the same card, right? So if the player draws a 9 in the first 2 cards and the banker draws a 4, obviously the player wins automatically just based off those first 4 cards. Same situation if it was an 8. Now, if the player draws a 9 and then the banker draws an 8, the player still wins because the closest to 9 wins in Baccarat. If both hands draw a 9, then it is a tie. So that is not in the ChatGPT rules, but I do know an 8 and a 9 is an automatic winner. Alright, so the points. So how do you calculate the points of the cards? So an ace is worth 1 point. The face values of the 2 through 9 are those numbers. A 10, jack, king, and queen are all 0 points. So let's say you get an ace and a king, that is a 1 point. If you get a 9 and a king, that's 9 points, right? That's the best. You'll hear, I am going to play live Baccarat to kind of go through a couple of them. You'll hear them call a card Baccarat. A Baccarat is a 10, anything with a value of a 10. So it would be a 10, jack, king, or queen. So if your total value of your hand exceeds 9, you drop the tens unit. For example, a 7 and an 8 is a 15. You would drop the 1, leaving you with a 5. So like I said, a 10 and a 9 would be 19, but you drop the 1, that's a 9. Okay. Drawing a third card. This is where it kind of gets a little confusing for me, but this kind of helped me a little bit. So the player and banker hands might get a third card, but it's determined by specific rules. With a player's third card, if a player's hand totals 0 through 5, they draw a third card. If the player's hand totals 6 or 7, they stay. They do not draw another card. Banker's third card. The banker's action depends on the banker's hand value and whether the player has drawn a third card. This is more complex, and each casino has its own set of rules. So I don't know how the Baccarat is on BetMGM, so we'll kind of have to see from there. So with betting, or winning the game, after both hands have been dealt, the one closest to a 9 wins. A player pays 1 to 1, banker pays 1 to 1, but there is a 5% commission on the winnings for the banker. The reason for that is because they have better odds of winning because their third card pull is based upon what the player pulls. Okay, and there is a tie. A tie pays 8 to 1 or 9 to 1 depending on the casino. Side bets. There are several different side bets. There's a pair bet, right? So if the player gets a pair or the banker gets a pair, if you play those, it'll be 11 to 1. There's a perfect pair. Let's say there's 2 sevens. If they're both the 7 of spades, then that pays 25 to 1. But you have to bet on that specifically. And again, I don't know much about BetMGM and how theirs is set up, and what side bets they have. I just going off of all of the side bets potentially. There is the dragon bet, and I think there's one called the panda, and it might be reversed. This bet is to how much player or banker hand will win by. The bigger the difference between the hands, the bigger the payout. If a player or banker wins with a large amount, for example, 4 or more points ahead, this bet can pay out as much as 30 to 1. So I think the best payout for that is if let's say I'm betting on player and it hits a natural 9, and the banker's hand has 2 baccarats, right? So 2 cards with a value of 10. Your payout's gonna be a lot higher on that one than it would be if it was a 6 and a 7, right? It says, for example, 4 or more. So I'm assuming if you win by less than 3, you don't win the dragon bet. Okay. There's also big and small side bets. A big side bet is if there's a total of 5 or 6 cards that are dealt on the board. A small is if there will only be the 4 original cards that came out. Okay. So there is some strategies added on here, and I think this is how we're going to try to play. Bet on the banker. Statistically, betting on the banker is the best option since the banker's hand has a slightly higher chance of winning. However, keep in mind the 5% commission taken off the banker's hand. The banker's drawing a third card is based upon how the player drew a card or what they have. Okay, so we'll have to kind of play a little bit. I know that drawing as the banker is a little different for each casino, so we're going to go off of that. So I'm going to clip this video, and then we're going to head over straight to Baccarat and see how we do on a live table. So we are here at the Baccarat table, and I don't know if you could see that hand right there. I just threw $1 real quick on the banker, and we hit a natural 9 off the first one, which is insane. So we're going to follow the strategy that ChatGPT showed us of betting on the banker because it does have slightly better odds. And we're just going to play a couple hands here. I'm not going to go deep into this. So we see there that the player has 2 8s. Okay, so that's 6, and then the banker has 6 as well. Remember, in our guide, the player stands on 6 and 7. So obviously the banker stood on 6 or 7 as well to make sure that that was a tie, because if they'd have drawn another card, they could have busted or went back down to less than a 6. Okay, we have a 2 and a 4. Player has 10. Banker has 2. Banker wins 6 to 2. Oh, I'm sorry, 6 to 10. All right, let's try it again. There's people betting like $1,900 in this game, which is insane. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the bottom of the board. I'm not going to get into that right now. I know the one on the right is the streaks. Okay, player has 2, player has 8, banker has 7. So again, an 8 is an automatic winner, so the player won there. So we're going to go another $1 here on the banker. So on the bottom right, that shows the streaks. So if you look, I don't see my mouse here. Okay. On the bottom there, the last one on the far right is a blue circle. That means that the player was the last person to win. If the player gets on a streak, they move down. Okay, player has 7, banker. Okay, we lost. Alright, I'm going to go 2 on the banker. 7 to 5. Alright, so you can see here that the player has won 2 hands in a row. The further that gets down, there's a certain point where those streaks move off to the right and make like an L shape. So you can really see how hot the banker cards have been and how hot the player cards have been. Natural 9. There we go. So we won $4 there. We're actually up $1.81. We're going to go back to $1 just to keep playing. And then right there on the bottom, you can see that there's another circle that was created for red, which is the banker. So you can see the back and forth between, it looks like they started with 4 player in a row, and then it's kind of evened out since then. All right, player. All right, so banker draws because player doesn't draw because they have a 6. Banker drew because they had less than a 6. Okay, we're gonna go another dollar. I think we're gonna try a strategy like we did for blackjack, where we'll do 1 1 1 2 2 4 4 8 8 and go from there. All right. 7. So player's not gonna draw a card. Banker will draw a card here. That's an 8. That's a win. All right. So knowing the rules a little bit is helping, and understanding what's about to happen, because I had been playing Baccarat and I couldn't understand when exactly people drew. Just based off this ChatGPT thing, it helps me know that if a 6 or 7 comes, that player is not drawing a card. But if the banker has less than that, they have an opportunity to draw into that. So player has 0, banker has 2. Ooh, hit a 9. Okay, go another dollar. Yeah, so this is our second dollar in our progression here. Or no, this is our third dollar in our progression because I've had that one doubled. Let's see what happens. Look at the back and forth. It's been banker player, banker player. Okay. They drew a 6. We got a 10. We're drawing a card. Nope. Alright. So, kind of understanding the drawing is helping me a lot. Understanding when the banker draws is a little bit more complex, so trying to understanding that as well. So, everybody is on the banker right now. 96% of the people are on the banker. Or 96% of the money, it looks like. Ooh. Okay, 6 to 4, we're drawing on the banker. Player wins again. Listen, we're not hitting a good streak here. So I think just going through some of the basics, and I'm not very familiar with what's going on over here on the left. That's something for another day, I believe. Okay, 4. Man, we're drawing on both. Okay, we'll take a tie. That's fine. We'll repeat that bet. We're at our second $2 bet. So if you're watching this, leave me some comments. Is there any other games? Is there anything more in detail that I can go in on Baccarat? Again, I'm not a professional. I do know like the basics to it. I was hoping to use this video as kind of a teaching way for myself as well. Okay, come on. Natural 9. Oh, we're getting smashed. Alright. So we're going to go to $4 here. And I'm going to put $1 on the banker bonus. I think that banker bonus is if it's by more than 4. I think that's what it is. $10. Alright. 10. 4. We can beat a 4. No, not yet. Player wins again. Alright, this is our last $4 bet here. It's getting deep. We might have to get away from the banker play that the ChatGPT showed us. It's an even money split. You can see how many people are betting on each one. Okay, come on. 6. 10, we're drawing on the banker. 2. Man, we are getting crushed. Alright, we're doing 8 on the banker. Alright, here we go. Ooh, not a good card for us. Not a good card for us. Okay, 2. 6. Alright, I think they draw. Ugh. Getting crushed. I thought we had a chance there. We're gonna rebet that. Throw $1 on the bonus. We're due. Bankers due. So you can see on the bottom here, see the player streak has been so far, and then it's gotten to the point where it just starts moving to the right. And it'll keep going to the right until a banker hits, and then it'll reset up here at the top. 6, 3. Okay, so 2 and a 2. 2s. Okay. Repeat our bet. Listen, if we miss this one, we're gonna go for it at 16 for at least one. It is what it is. So you can see on this at the bottom there is a line through the blue circle. I believe that means that there was a tie right after that one. Okay, we'll take it. Give us a Baccarat. Baccarat. 8. Hey, we'll take an 8. Okay, so we won 17 bucks there. We are going to double that. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's hit it right here. That's the strategy, is you have to hit twice in a row to play this strategy. So we're at $16 now. We really need to hit right here. All right, that's a 1. That's a 10. That's a 1. We can beat a 1. 8. Let's go. We're at $52. We are up $2. We're gonna reset. I'm gonna stick with banker for at least 2 more. So I think this is a good finish for the video. I think it's gonna total out about 18-20 minutes. This shows, you know, kind of the basics to Baccarat, understanding when the dealer's gonna draw a card, when he's not gonna draw a card. Remember, an automatic win is an 8 or a 9 for either side, and the player draws first. There we go. Player wins. Yeah. So the player draws first. If they have a 6 or a 7, they don't have to draw a card. If it's 5 or below, they will draw a card. And then the banker is determined upon the player. I believe if the banker has like a 5 or a 5, if the player has lower than that, they don't have to draw. But that is, each casino has their own rules on that. So if you go to a casino, ask them what their rule is on drawing for the banker. And also remember the commission. So if you want to play a strategy and you don't want to have to pay commission, play player. You know, it's about a 50-50 chance. The variation is on when drawing the card. But again, you pay the commission, so it is what it is. But alright, I think that's a good point to end the video. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Hopefully I can make more content like this. I think our next Dummies video is going to be Blackjack. I know a lot of people already know how to play Blackjack. It'll be just something for me to kind of mess with. But let me know in the comments. I'm going to add our other 2 Dummies, so they should be, yeah, this side. So if you click those 2 videos, they'll take you to our roulette and our craps beginners videos. So if you want to learn more about that. So thank you. See you in the next one.